Welcome to the Rugby Players Guide to France, made just for you by BrightRock, a series of top South African rugby exports who spent time playing the game in France, look back at life on and off the rugby field and what it was like moving abroad to play the bounce in a new part of the world. Welcome to the Rugby Players Guide to France, and welcome to a beautiful spring day in Paris. It feels a bit more like Scotland than France, but you know it's Paris because of all the historic buildings, such as the Opera House that sits behind me. Paris, very much a city of culture, but it's also a great city of sport, and in particular rugby. So this week I catch up with somebody who knows Paris just a little better than I do. Welcome to the Rugby Players Guide to France, made just for you by BrightRock, as we look ahead to life on and off the field in one of the world's great rugby nations that's got rather a lot of rugby being played on it this year. And my guest this week is somebody who's not only terrorised the poor French on their own soil, but he seems to half live there because, Mr. Beast, every second Instagram post of yours I see at the moment, you're on the Eiffel Tower, you're outside the Arc de Triomphe, you're on the Seine having a boat cruise. You've become almost French.
Oh, that's certainly true, Dan. I've been spending a great deal of time in France, merely because I've been part of the build-up towards the World Cup this year. Been doing a lot of ambassadorial work for World Rugby. So, yeah, it's a privilege, I get to obviously, enjoy time in Paris with my wife, drinking a bottle of wine and cruising, around the city and just getting to enjoy what the French life is all about.
And it gives you a little bit of a different perspective, because I'm sure when you've played in France in the past, you had a bit of time to get to know the country, but now you're going over, if not quite as a tourist, then certainly in a more relaxed space. What's it been like discovering the life in France outside the field?
No, it's been pretty cool, because obviously when we played, when we're traveling to play, you didn't have too much time to go and, sightsee and, explore, what France is all about. But now that I'm retired, I'm on the other side, I've relaxed a bit more and started to really embrace the culture and seeing, what the French are all about. So I absolutely love, traveling all over, going to Bordeaux, going to the wine farms, experiencing what they're all about. Kind of, reminds me of Franschhoek, the French corner of South Africa. So there's a lot of, similarities between us and them. Obviously, their passion for the game of rugby. So I do love spending time in France, yeah.
Now, we can't have this conversation speaking to a front row forward without talking about food. You and I have a shared Zimbabwean heritage. That's Sadza Nenyama.
Yeah.
Life in South Africa. Dinner at the beach house normally involves a braai and large amounts of meat. What's it been like getting to know food in France, and has anything really caught your eye?
Yes, I absolutely love French food. So probably my favorite is, duck. I eat a lot of duck when I'm there. And obviously the duck liver pâté, the foie gras, I enjoy it. I tend to eat a lot of bread when I go to France because their bread is probably made in a different way than how it's made here. You don't pick up any weights for some reason when you eat it. And of course, their wine is delicious. So I always enjoy pairing a nice bottle of red with some meat. So yeah, I absolutely love, French cuisine.
So that's the food, the lifestyle experience. What about the rugby experience when you've played over there? Not just playing against French teams who are normally pretty strong, but also the atmosphere, the environment. What's that like?
No, it's electric, It's quite an ambiance. The French, as I say, they're very passionate. So when you play in Marseille at the Vélodrome, they're singing the entire game. They're screaming and chanting, and it's obviously quite different to what you would experience anywhere else. They've got a unique passion towards the game, so it makes it pretty, tough and almost difficult to beat them. Especially in a full packed stadium, with 90,000 Frenchmen screaming. But I guess when you obviously overcome and beat them, it's a sweet feeling.
And you've done that, you've pulled that off, you know what was needed to get that done. What's your advice to the current generation of trying to deal with that French crowd and seeing them off?
I think what I would advise, this current generation, as they embark on this journey of playing in the World Cup, is to, embrace, everything around you in France, because it is a special country, and, make themselves at home there, get to familiarize yourself with the locals, learn a bit of French. It always helps you to get by. Don't get there and you try speaking English to everybody that you meet, because the French usually get intimidated, when they hear too much English. So learn a bit of the language, the culture, and, on the field of play, have confidence in the preparation that you have done. Don't get swayed or, intimidated by the crowd, because it's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. So just remain calm, at all times, and, and deliver.
Are there a few words of French in the Mtawarira vocabulary?
Parlez-vous français?
Un peu mais très mauvais.
Bienvenue.
You're almost fluent.
Well, almost. Je m'appelle the Beast.
All right, well, the phrase I'd like you to learn for the next time we catch up over a glass of wine is, we are world champions once again. You know what it takes to be world champions. Are you feeling good? Do you think that we're going to come away smiling from France?
I believe that the Springboks, have got a great chance of winning the World Cup. But it's not going to be easy. I think, as we've already seen over the last couple of games, they had a torrid time, in the championship, and we probably didn't play our best rugby. But I believe that, this next couple of games will help to try and create some momentum leading up to the World Cup. So I think, with the depth that we currently have, there's no other country out there that has similar depth. So I think that's going to prove key, as we go through the tournament. And some other teams are going to lose their, main key players, but we seem to have like 3 or 4 guys that are lining up to take over. So you're never going to worry too much if you lose some of your first choice players, because the guys coming in are big enough to fill those shoes. So I really believe that our squad depth is going to prove monumental for us to win the World Cup.
So not just a bottle of the famous Beast red wine, but maybe some champagne waiting as well.
Yeah, totally. We're ready to pop a bottle of champagne and celebrate with the boys.
Well, if Tendai The Beast Mtawarira has got a bottle ready, maybe you should have as well. A man who's come to know and love France, loved it on the field, now loves it off the field as well. It's the Rugby Players Guide to France, made just for you by BrightRock, with Tendai The Beast Mtawarira.